Vekoma has gone from stealing a prominent manufacturer's track and ideas to creating their own innovative new coasters and track. As such, they have made many different variations of track and coasters. So this video will be split into two parts. Part 1 is coasters that you can easily recognize, and Part 2 is coasters that you are probably best using RCDB to find out more information on. Vekoma has made many cloned coasters. A cloned coaster is a coaster that has the exact same track layout as another coaster. Many of Vekoma's coasters use the exact same track design as another manufacturer, Arrow. For information on how to identify these two different manufacturers' coasters, please check out my video on Arrow in the link in the video description. Vekoma's first easily recognized coaster is the Suspended Looping Coaster, or SLC. These coasters are relatively easy to recognize as no other manufacturer uses this track design on inverted coasters. This track design consists of a central support spine and smaller angled spines connecting to rails on the inside of the track. Most of these coasters have the exact same layout. Some examples of the standard Vekoma SLC are T3 at Kentucky Kingdom and Mind Eraser at Six Flags New England. The next of Vekoma's easily recognized coasters is the Boomerang. There are currently over 50 Boomerangs in operation around the world. All standard Vekoma Boomerangs have exactly the same layout and are easily recognizable. They also use the same track type as the Vekoma SLC. A few examples of the standard Boomerang are the Bat at Canada's Wonderland and Flashback at Six Flags New England. There are a few variations to the standard Boomerang, such as the Invertigo model. The Invertigo model Boomerang is slightly taller and slightly faster than the standard Boomerang, but the largest difference is the fact that riders sit below the track facing each other. An example of an Invertigo model Boomerang is Invertigo at Kings Island. Vekoma also makes the giant inverted Boomerang, which is much more unique than the standard Boomerang as it features two vertical lifts and is much taller. An example of a giant inverted Boomerang is Goliath at Six Flags New England. The final Vekoma that is easy to recognize is the Vekoma Flying Dutchman. This is a flying coaster that uses the same track as the SLC and Boomerang. These rides are easy to recognize as no other manufacturer has made a flying coaster with this track. There are also only 3 of these coasters out there: Firehawk at Kings Island, Nighthawk at Carowinds, and Batwing at Six Flags America. Now here are some of the coasters that are not so easy to recognize due to them being very similar to coasters by other manufacturers, or they're very unique and as such very rare. If the coaster you're curious about looks like one of these, it's best to look it up on RCDB. First, the Vekoma MK1200. All of these coasters are very similar to Arrow's looping coasters from this time. Next we have the Vekoma Mine Train. These coasters are also similar to Arrow's mine trains. However, some of the Vekoma mine trains have wooden slats in the steel track. If you see this, it is a Vekoma. Next is the Vekoma Junior coaster. These coasters are almost impossible to distinguish between other kiddie coasters. Please use RCDB for all coasters like this. Then there is the Vekoma Family Boomerang. These rides always feature a booster wheel spike at some point in the ride. Because of that, they're probably the easiest to recognize on this section of the list. There's also the Vekoma MK700 and MK900. These coasters use very generic track and as such are very difficult to recognize. And of course, there's also the Vekoma Suspended Family Coaster, which is somewhat unique to Vekoma. However, recently other manufacturers such as S&S have begun making similar coasters. Next, there's the Vekoma Big Air, the Vekoma LSM Coaster, the famous Vekoma Tilt Coaster, the Vekoma Wild Mouse, the Vekoma Splash Party, the Vekoma Powered Coaster, the Vekoma Motorbike Coaster, the Vekoma Stingray, and many more. as well as more models on the way. Vekoma truly has a diverse collection of rides on offer, and while some may be better than others, Vekoma is likely to remain a large manufacturer in the amusement park industry.